I'll go to Mr. Raja now, and I want to pose this question. We've talked about England and the things that they did right. What about India? What went wrong for India? I mean, they were coming off this high of Brisbane, right? We spoke after the Brisbane Test. It was such a wonderful victory, and you were expected to really dominate in conditions that you've grown up in. What went wrong for India?
I don't know, see, it could also be a bit of a hangover from Brisbane. I mean, you come from such a high, players are a little bit, maybe still in a little bit of that mood. Could be, I don't know. And yeah, that's one. And like I said earlier, also, I think I'm disappointed in the bowling on the first day because yes, it's a flat wicket. I felt bad sometimes seeing that Ashwin couldn't spin the ball, but Ashwin is a bowler with almost 400 Test wickets now, right? I mean, he's got that caliber, so he knows it's not the first time he's bowling on a wicket, not assisting him. It was, and I'm not taking anything away from the English batsmen. No? I mean, if you say something, say that Indian bowlers didn't do well, it doesn't mean that the English batsmen shouldn't get credit. But the Indian bowling, whether it was Bumrah, whether it was Ashwin, these are two world-class bowlers. So even on this wicket, I'd have expected them to do better. At the end of the first day, I was thinking, I was like, hey, come on, and what really annoyed me a little bit was, okay, you're not getting assistance from the wicket, right? There's no assistance. Yeah. So what do you do next? You at least try to stem the flow of runs. That's the next best thing you can do. So, I mean, at least don't let them run away with it. And there, I think Kohli made one mistake because I think he could have bowled Sundar a little bit more. Because Sundar is not much of a wicket-taking bowler. I mean, he's a line and length type of a guy, right? I've been used to IPL, ODI, that type of an environment where you've got to contain the batsman. So when you're not getting too much assistance on the wicket, you get a bowler like Sundar to bowl more, okay, and at least stem the flow of runs, and that. But the way they were bowling, Root, I mean, not taking anything away from Root, I mean, it's such a delight to watch. But he really played the spinners beautifully. Front foot, back foot, just, very free flow. But I feel the Indian bowling, they have to look at themselves on the first, both the days actually, first and second day. That I think that was a big letdown for me. Maybe I have very high expectations from them, but it was a letdown. And then the Indian batting, there were some unfortunate dismissals. Okay, let's be fair on that also. I mean, Rahane also, I think, got out to a very good catch in the first inning, if I'm not mistaken. And there was that unfortunate bounce catch.
Pujara.
Pujara. That was unfortunate also.
Yeah.
But again, the English bowling was again top class. Huh? I mean, if you look at the field placing of Root also, very very good. So the Indian players, I feel maybe a little bit relaxed after Australia getting into the series. I'm sure they'll bounce back. I don't expect them to repeat this performance in the next Test match. A little bit of that maybe, and in the second innings, I don't think there was much to choose. I mean, today England's performance was top class. I mean, I don't think any batsman would have been able to survive those Anderson deliveries. Anderson was really, I mean, no batsman in the world would have survived those. So it's not, you can't blame the Indian batting today. I mean, fantastic bowling by England. The first innings bowling was a letdown for sure. 578 was just not on the cards. They should have kept them to 350 or 400. On a good batting wicket, 350 to 400. That's about it. And then you are still very much in the game, And we have the ability. If you see, if your first innings is chasing 400, you expect to get 400. But 578, it's a daunting total up there. And then you get Rohit Sharma out early. Rohit Sharma also got out to a very good delivery. So the bowling was. I must say one thing about Ishant though. Ishant didn't get any wickets on the first day, but he was the pick of the bowlers for me.
Sure.
Ishant. The rest of the bowlers were disappointing. Nadeem was real disappointment for me. The batting, I mean, when you're chasing for 578, it's always, and you have an England attack which is on the ball, and you have fielding which is backing up that bowling. It's not easy. But for me, the bowling was a letdown more than anything else.
Okay, all right. Let me ask Kanishk the same question. Kanishk, you and I were discussing this. That India obviously the bowling was disappointing. We talked about their selection I mean, Nadeem over Kuldeep. We also talked about the fact that how beautifully Root nullified, the Indian spinners using the sweep shot. So do you think the Indian bowling, and Mr. Raja has been talking about it, the bowling wasn't up to the mark on the first day, and that really pushed India back. That gave the cushion to both Root and Stokes to attack on the second day, because first day, if you're three down for many, then it gives you a great cushion to push towards that total. So and plus the bowling, obviously. So what did India do wrong? What happened?
So I think, as Mr. Raja also mentioned, that certainly bowling was not up to the mark, and I think there must have been plenty of footage to analyze Root's game in Sri Lanka, right, for those two tests. So I mean, I would assume that the think tank knew his reach as far as sweep is concerned, because he had a very a long reach to play those sweep shots. And the beauty of that was that he could play it anywhere on the leg side, right? He could place the ball with his sweep shots anywhere on the leg side. So it just felt that the Indian spinners didn't have any answer to that, or there was no plan B or plan C in place. And I think that was one of the biggest factors, that he just nullified whatever attack we had. And after that, we were just playing a catching up game from there onwards. But most importantly, I think the other factor that I feel, and it's kind of more the body language, visible more from the body language, is that some of the Indian players look tired on the field. Could be as a result of extensive, duration from which they've been playing the game. I mean, they've all been on the road for, not all, but the core of the Indian team has been on the road since, I would say, August end or September first week. And it's a long time.
In fact, August, right? A lot of them went to IPL camps,
August 4th week, if I'm not mistaken. So, almost 4.5, 5 months of travel, and add to that the bio bubble. So I just feel that it's something that this support staff needs to look into, and I really hope, as far as Bumrah is concerned, he needs to be protected for future games. And as one of our friends in the group that Harry and I are part of said that it probably would make sense to give him a break for the next test and keep him ready for day nights in Ahmedabad. So I think that these two factors clearly played a huge role as far as the performance of the Indian team is concerned. And lastly, I think we've seen Nadeem's performance, and as we had discussed, that I personally don't see a reason why Kuldeep wasn't given. You have a core set of players that that are identified, and if one is not available, you go with the next one. Being overlooked this way doesn't do any justice to Kuldeep's performance, who's been on the, who's been around the team for a long period now. So if I think there's needs to be some sort of clarity in where he stands in the scheme of things. So
yeah. Okay. Well said. In fact, I was about to ask Mayuresh, about a couple of things. You mentioned, Kanishk, about the fact that Bumrah bowled so many overs. I mean, Ishant bowled so many overs. They were forced to, because obviously, 578 was scored in the first innings. But the fact is that reduces the effectiveness of a strike bowler like Bumrah. If you're asking him to bowl 36 overs in the first innings, I mean, that is like a lot, right? Over a period of 2 days. So do you think, I mean, and when you compare that with the English seamers, you obviously had, two main seamers in Jofra, Archer, and Anderson. Plus, you had a backup seamer in Ben Stokes, right? So India didn't have a backup seamer. It didn't have an Hardik Pandya or anything. So given that, the effectiveness of both Anderson in the second innings as well as, Jofra Archer in the first innings was intact, because they did have the cushion of one, a big total behind them. Plus, they also were not forced to bowl overs. They had a Ben Stokes who could do some bowling as well. So do you think that played a massive factor, Mayuresh? Did India get the team combination wrong?
Yes, I think the first of all, which Kanishk said, I agree with that. I think India's team combination was wrong. If Akshar Patel was not going to play, why was not Kuldeep Yadav played? I don't think so. Kuldeep Yadav is worse bowler than Nadeem. I don't think so. What was the criteria for him not playing? Because he was your player who is traveling everywhere, but you don't pick him for the Indian to play in Chennai pitch, which is one of the paradise for spinners, so-called spinners paradise. Then where are you going to play him? Are you going to play him in Ahmedabad day and night? God knows. Personally speaking, I think, as you said, England bowlers had a backup of 578 runs. Secondly, they had a backup of a deteriorating pitch, uneven pitch. Pitch was doing some tricks. And plus, Jimmy Anderson, I think one takeaway which I took from, I think Jimmy Anderson bowled excellent. But I think where he bowled was, he was using the reverse swing perfectly. I think maybe he has seen the India-South Africa series, and he know where Indian bowlers were hitting. And it was the same recipe which India did to South Africa. You bat big, you score big runs, and then the fast bowlers were taking wickets. They were bowling this in swing or reverse swings, which were getting bowls and LBW. I think that were factors which played. But I think Indian team selection was wrong. And somewhere I personally felt the bowlers were not allowed to do what they were doing. I think there was too much interference. I think the calmness, I thought what the bowlers missed was the calmness. I think what we saw in Australia was bowlers had a calmness. There was a calmness around. But somehow other, I thought that was missing. They were trying too many things. Ashwin was trying too many things. And other, I thought was, why was Washington Sundar not used effectively by Virat Kohli? I think in the first day itself, as Mr. Raja said, that Washington Sundar is a bowler who is known to do a hold up job. When you had a partnership, you could have bowled Washington Sundar from one end. Like Joe Root did a tactical switch in the first inning. When Jack Leach was not getting runs and Pant was hitting, he changed his end and he brought him from that Anna Sahib or something, that end, from where Jack Leach became very effective. And that's where he got more. And I didn't see that kind of a switch. I didn't see that tactical switch which happened from India, which was, I thought, totally missing. So that, what I can't say, imaginative captaincy, innovations, that was altogether, I thought it was missing. And that's again, people will say once you have got 578 runs on the board, everything will happen like that. The captains will, and he's all, what I'll say, whatever he was making the changes that were working for him.
Okay.
I think it's
Understood. Yeah. So, the last word, I will go to Anuradha, and I want to ask her about India's performance, sticking to that. Everybody, all these experts, they've talked about the bowling being very disappointing. Obviously, we conceded 578. Let's talk about India's batting. I mean, we did concede 578, yes, but the pitch was still good for batting, on day 2 as well as day 3. And on day 3, what we saw, despite the fabulous bowling of England, the fact remains that, when Pujara and Pant were, going so well together, I mean, there seemed to be no demons in the pitch. So did the Indian top order and middle order fail India as well? What's your take on this, Anuradha? And if there are other factors, you think, yeah.
So, to answer your question, absolutely. I mean, barring Pujara, Pant, and Sundar, there are no significant contributions. There were no significant contributions, right? And of course, the score was too daunting, and we let that score affect us psychologically. So I think that is where we lost. I mean, there was probably we kind of were like, maybe we'll lose this one. It's all right. We'll bounce back later. That's also a weird attitude to have, but we have that attitude. And that I think we went into this game very confident, given the hangover of Australia. And see, look at the forms. Okay, look at Rohit Sharma. He's not in form. Look at Rahane, not in form. Okay, Rahane's dismissals are so sad, so terrible. 1-0. Okay, even I mean, look at the bowlers as well. And bowling was toothless. Okay, this time bowling was toothless. Look at Ishant Sharma. Okay, I mean, you don't really. He's dependable. He's not like how he's been this time. Um, the spin squad absolutely was dismal. I mean, performed very dismally. So overall, it's in terms of batting, I think we kind of gave up. Nobody was holding the other end of the pitch. I mean, you had to have somebody hold the pitch, right, to make partnerships. There was no such effort by anybody. Okay, I mean, you count on Rahane for doing such things. I mean, one would count on Rahane for doing such things, but Rahane's dismissals are like very heartbreaking. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if we gave up after 578. We did very poorly in terms of bowling, and then I don't know in terms of batting. If we gave up at the moment we saw the score, okay, we'll let this pass. We'll bounce back in the next game. I don't know. Another thing, I was actually listening to everybody talk, and I was thinking of all the things that may have gone wrong, and if there are major factors. To be honest, England played way better than us. Okay, so we can highlight all the problems with us, but this team was a better team. Okay, in every which way, everybody went and contributed. We did not, and I don't know if it is the hangover, it is the overconfidence. I was listening to Mayuresh talk about tactical decisions on the spot, which seem to be missing from our team. Also, the fact that Sundar didn't bowl much, Rohit Sharma bowled. Okay, and of course Kuldeep Yadav missing. And to be honest, on Kuldeep Yadav, I have so much to say. That guy needs confidence. You put him in the squad. You don't bring him on the field. What are you doing to him? You're killing whatever confidence is left in him. And when he comes and does not perform, we'll curse him again. But I think we have been, as a unit, we have been very unfair to Kuldeep Yadav, to be honest. So all in all, I don't know. It seems like very messed up right now. Not happy with how we are projected as a team, including the decisions we are making. Not at all happy, but to be honest, don't want to take away from how England played. England played beautifully. I mean, I was rooting for Joe Root. Okay, England played absolutely beautifully. Look at those wickets from Anderson. Those 2 wickets in the second innings, his first over, right?
Yeah.
He took Gill and Rahane out in the same over.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, they played very well. Look at those calm partnerships in the first inning. They won the toss and they took full advantage of it. Totally. They just absolutely established. Everyone who walked into the field contributed.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Totally. All right. Okay. So, Harry, the last question. We're just going to end this.
Can I add one thing?
Yes, Momita, please.
Actually, I think I will go with the hangover thing, because we see India doing this from past, like once a big win, and then they are like, okay, we are the best, we can do anything, right? I feel, I don't know, but we are seeing this India doing this India's behavior like this.
Yeah. I mean, the body language, totally.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Just Swapnil, one point. I just want to ask one question, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Yes, please.
My memory is very bad, but in the last 5-6 years, I can't recall any game where we've allowed the opposition in India to get such a big score. So they're used to dismissing the opposition for smaller scores. I mean, many years ago, for my generation, I'm used to Indian teams being hammered. But in the last 5-6 years, we've actually upped our game a lot. So
I think the only game you can say is possibly that India-England game where they got what, 470 odd.
Yeah, so that's
and then 470 was a big total. This
was
was
a big total.
570.
So I think these players are not used to starting off with such a big deficit, you know. And many of these players are not used to very long innings also. Rohit Sharma type of guys, I mean, they're good batsmen, but they're not used to such big daunting totals.
No, but I think you're forgetting one match, Swapnil, which happened in Ranchi, India versus Australia.
Yes.
Where Australia scored 570 and then Pujara and Riddhiman scored double century and Riddhiman scored 100. And it was like they batted the fourth day, and on the fifth day, Australia were batting to survive or stay in the match.
Yeah, I remember that. I recall that match.
That's what is a match we have done. But I think that's the thing. It's not like I think we lost. I think it was gave up after 2 days.
Okay.